Hi guys, and welcome back to Radio Gagan. It's Nik here today, and I'm joined with Gagan Mahindra. Gagan, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Nick. Very good, thank you.
Good. How's your Christmas?
Really fun, actually. I think it's the first proper break that a lot of Conservative MPs have had since probably May last year. If you think about May local elections, July general election, my party went through leadership election in the autumn. So I think we were all looking forward to the couple of weeks away with friends and family. And while we continued to monitor things like emergency casework, I think a lot of colleagues, including myself, have come back very refreshed and ready to go.
Nice. Was there any particular moment of the Christmas break that you really enjoyed?
No, just all. We spent it with my extended family. I always enjoy Christmas Day. I had loads of turkey, the roast, more general roast. Not a fan of Brussels sprouts. I'm sure that might be too contentious. But,
yeah.
Well, I hope it's not. But it's always just a nice way just to reflect on the previous year and recharge the batteries for the next year ahead.
Nice. And coming back into Parliament now, how does it feel? Getting
really
back
good.
into the swing of things for a new year?
It's been, we're 6 months into this Labour government, and I never expected it to be as bad as it is at the moment. While I obviously had concerns when they were potentially going to get elected back in July, and with their supermajority that they achieved on the 4th of July, I think there's an element of buyer's remorse from those that may have sat at home or voted for other parties, including the Labour Party. So my inbox and my social media, and when I speak to people, they seem to be in a frame of mind which is democracy is important for our country, but when you're getting elected on a mandate for change, sometimes change can be for the worse.
Yeah, and they're changing things definitely for the worse right now. Looking at stuff they've changed, what's one thing for you that you think is the worst thing that's happened since they've been in power?
So I think the papers over the last few weeks have spoken about is the economy and finance and treasury. Labour government came in, made some decisions, including giving above inflation pay rises to the public sector. As listeners will be aware, I come from a small business background, and while Rachel Reeves and Zakir talk about aspiration for a business, they've actually pulled the rug from under their feet. You just need to look at the indexes for business confidence and consumer confidence to show that actually we're likely to go into a recession, and a lot of that is self-inflicted by political decisions made by this Labour government. Yeah, in my eyes anyway.
I agree. The UK's labour market has experienced a significant slowdown, with a notable decline in staff demand as firms adjust to the financial impacts of recent tax increases. And moving on to that, off of that, the school bills rowing back decades of progress. Yep. What are your thoughts on that?
So last week we debated about the Children's Wellbeing in Schools Bill. While part of the bill had really good things about increasing child protection, I think rolling back academisation, which was first introduced by Tony Blair, and giving parents a lot more freedom to make choices about how their children were educated and where they were educated, I think it's a policy of envy. We've had other policies within education, things like making independent schools having to pay VAT on school fees, and removing their charitable status so business rates increase. For me, I think the most influence we have as politicians is making sure that our children are best armed for future challenges, and I think the way the Labour government are doing it, in my eyes, is they're bringing down the average to ensure that everyone has a fair upbringing, when actually, similar to my comment about business, we need to create a generation of aspiration and give people the ability to fulfil their potential, whatever that is. And I remain concerned that there'll be a lot more schools being shut down. The fact that the Education Secretary of State has introduced this mid-year rather than wait till September next year, I think is really poor form. We continue to get correspondence from parents directly affected. this type of legislation will not affect the Eatons of the world. It's those families that are just about managing to prioritise their children's education over other lifestyle costs. So my only hope is that when we're back in government, which seems to be sooner rather than later, we're able to roll back some of these awful policy decisions.
I completely agree with that, Gagan. Looking at something that's like pressed the news lately, the grooming gangs and Labour's block on that. What is your take on that?
Yeah, this is a really interesting one because if we take out the demographics of the people and the areas these people are typically doing their crimes, I think any reasonable person would say, actually, if this is affecting 30, 40, 50 cities up and down the country, why do we not have a national investigation that actually means that police forces up and down the country and other partners associated with child welfare, like local councils and mounties and the like, learn the lessons before they're actually forced to by typically young girls and women being groomed and trafficked and their life chances destroyed. So the fact this has been going on for years, and the conversation I've been having suggests that it's still going on a very large scale, is really, really worrying. And I don't know the rationale why this Labour government is saying that actually we don't need to learn lessons that I think people do still need to learn.
I agree. I'm completely confused on why they've actually blocked it, and they're not that interested in investigating it, because it is definitely something that has caught the eyes of the media, not just in the UK, but from around the world, from Elon Musk. He's even commentating on it. And I think it's like, what are the Labour Party losing from not investigating?
So what's been interesting is you've had a few Labour MPs, Dan Carden and Sarah Champion and a few others. Like Sarah's the MP for Rotherham, which is obviously one of the areas that has been affected by grooming gangs, starting to voice their view that there needs to be a national inquiry. So I think if we have this conversation in a few weeks or months, there may be a U-turn, and I think that's the right thing. So I'm never going to criticise a politician of whatever stripe if they end up changing their mind to do the right thing. So let's see where Yvette and Keir end up on this, but I think history will judge them badly if we don't eventually get to a national inquiry. It doesn't need to be one that goes on for years and years, but I do think that we need to be critical friends and not afraid of saying the right thing. And I do think there seems to be a element of sticking your head in the sand hoping it's going to go away, and it won't.
Yeah, I could, again, very much in agreement with you on Gagan. And looking into, say, Farage recently and Elon's comments on Farage saying that he's not fit to lead the Reform Party, I know it's not something that we're exactly in line with, but what do you think about it? The whole Elon commentating on British politics recently, calling out Kemi, calling out Farage, wanting Rupert.
So I'm actually a fan of Elon. I think he's a massive disruptor. You've seen that in his industry, whether it's Tesla or space shuttles and the like. And actually, I think him having the freedom to be vocal is a sign of a strong democracy. That doesn't mean I agree with him. So when he was initially thinking that Reform was going to be the body that best represents the electorate in this country, I disagree with him on that. I think Nigel is a phenomenal politician. He has changed our country over many, many years, with, while not necessarily being the majority party, nudging policies of my party and others to be more aligned to where he wants, shows him as an effective politician. I think we should not be afraid of external people commenting on our politics. I think we have, as UK parliamentarians and parties, do speak about other countries. So if we wish to have an opinion on others, I think we should also be thick-skinned enough to allow others to have opinions on us. I always remind myself the only people that really matter are the electorate and those of the UK. So I remain a fan of Elon's. I don't always agree with him. His stance on supporting some of the parties in mainland Europe don't sit comfortably with me. But he's a private individual and is welcome to his own views.
I agree with you on that, Gagan. However, my personal view on this is that if you have someone like Elon, who's such an influential figure, wouldn't he cause a bandwagoning effect to the younger generation that follow him, so that they would look at reform, or they would look at what he's saying and try align themselves more like him?
So this is a challenge that all the main parties have. When I first got elected back in 2004 as a parish councillor, at the same time I stood for district council in Essex, and the seat itself, that particular ward, was won by the BNP. And when people are not happy, they are able to show that unhappiness with how they vote, where they turn out to vote. And it's up to the main parties to actually get better at what they're meant to be doing. Yes, we can always be critical of fringe parties, but there's a saying which is the electorate is never wrong. We learned that as a Conservative Party the hard way on the 4th of July. We are setting out our stall over the next few days, weeks and months ahead of why people should come back to us and trust us again. And while Reform will be a party in this Parliament and in UK politics, they're not the only one. So in South West Hertfordshire, my councils have been Lib Dem controlled for many, many years. We have a few independents and Green and the like. So if I want my party to be the majority party, we need to get better at articulating why people should be coming out to vote for us.
Nice. Perfect, Gagan. And as we wrap up today, I have a couple questions for you. Just on the general aspects of life and what you like more. It's going to be a couple quick rapid fire questions. And first one is chocolate or sweets?
You know I've got a sweet tooth. That's a really mean question. Just because I've literally had a chocolate about 5 minutes ago, I'm going to go for sweets.
Sweets, okay, nice. Heroes or celebrations?
Celebrations.
Tango or Coke?
Tango. I'm a Pepsi Max drinker.
Okay, so Pepsi Max or Tango?
I would go Pepsi Max then.
Fair enough. And the sports one, football or cricket?
I'm bad at both of them, but I would say football.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Gagan. It was lovely having you on the show again today. And we'll be back next month.